Machiavelli was a 15th century Italian philosopher who's still infamous for his ideas on politics and power. His most famous book, The Prince, is a guide on how to gain and maintain power, and it's filled with advice that's as ruthless as it is practical. But what makes Machiavelli so controversial? It's his willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve success, even if it means getting your hands dirty. Now, imagine transposing that cold, calculating logic from the war rooms of Renaissance Italy into the quiet intimacies of your own relationships. What if the dynamics of love and affection are not a sanctuary from power, but its most sophisticated and unspoken battlefield? This is not about love as you've been taught to believe it, a spontaneous, organic connection. This is about love as a construct, a delicate system of influence that can be understood, and yes, even engineered. We are taught that relationships are built on mutual respect and transparency. But here lies the unsettling paradox. Is true connection fostered by absolute vulnerability, or is it strategically managed through perceived vulnerability? What if the desire to be fully known is the very thing that undermines your authority? This creates a profound tension between the person you are and the strategic self you must occasionally embody to maintain devotion. Are you prepared to see your most personal interactions not through the lens of emotion, but through the dispassionate eye of a strategist? The first and most critical step is to understand the hidden problem that makes this entire dark framework not just possible, but devastatingly effective. This hidden problem is not a flaw in your character, but a deep-seated feature of the human psyche. To understand it, we must look beyond Machiavelli to the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer and his piercing metaphor of the human will. He described our core being as a blind, incessant striving, a constant, knowing need for security, significance, and connection. This primal will is the hidden puppet master, and it creates a vacuum of desire within every person. This is the psychological root of the issue. You are not dealing with a fully rational person, but with a being driven by profound, often unconscious hungers. Society, as thinkers like Aldous Huxley hinted, then conditions this will, teaching us what we should desire in a partner: strength, stability, mystery. The trap is set. When you interact with a woman, you are rarely interacting solely with her conscious, logical mind. You are engaging with this deep, swirling current of inherited expectations and primal needs. Your words are heard not just by her ears, but by this subterranean force. This is why logical arguments in a relationship often fail. You are speaking a rational language to an irrational core. Your identity in her eyes becomes a projection, a screen upon which her own will and conditioning are displayed. Are you the hero who can satisfy these hungers, or just another background character? The terrifying consequence of this is that you can do everything right on the surface and still lose all influence because you failed to speak to the hidden language of the will. But this is only the beginning. The true danger lies in the unseen consequences of ignoring this psychological battlefield, a reality that quietly dictates your every interaction and her every reaction. The unseen consequence of this unaddressed human will is a silent psychological prison. You believe you are engaging in a partnership of equals, but you are actually navigating a field dominated by cognitive biases you cannot see. Her perception of you is filtered through a lens of availability heuristics. She remembers your most recent failure more vividly than a year of consistency. It's shaped by confirmation bias, where she subconsciously seeks evidence that confirms her pre-existing fears or hopes about who you are. Your very identity in her mind is not a fixed portrait, but a fragile narrative, constantly being rewritten by these invisible forces. This isn't her fault. It is the neurology of a brain designed to seek patterns and shortcuts for survival, now applied to the complexities of modern intimacy. This conditioning creates a devastating feedback loop. The more you seek validation to prove your worth, the more you appear needy, draining the very authority that fosters genuine attraction. The more transparent you become in an attempt to build trust, the more you eliminate the essential mystery that fuels desire. You are playing a game where the intuitive moves are the losing ones, trapped by your own biological and cultural programming. The urgency here is not about manipulating her, but about understanding that you are both actors in a play whose script you haven't read. You feel the strain, the confusion, the slow erosion of your footing, but you cannot name the architect of the maze. This feeling of powerlessness is the direct result of these unseen rules. But what if you could step outside the maze entirely? What if the rebellion begins not with a new set of tactics, but with a radical shift in the very source of your power? The rebellion, therefore, is not about controlling her, but about mastering the environment of the interaction, starting with the one variable you truly can command, yourself. This is the radical shift. Machiavellian virtue, virtue, is not morality, but a force of will, the prowess of a leader who bends fortune to his will through decisive action and self-discipline. Your power does not come from demanding her attention, but from building a life of such compelling purpose that your attention becomes the valued commodity. This is your counterintuitive arsenal. Strategic withdrawal, not as punishment, but as a demonstration of your own complete and fulfilling reality. It is perceived value, rooted in genuine autonomous achievement. Think of the historical figures who commanded fierce loyalty, not by pleading for it, but by embodying a cause greater than any single relationship. This is how you break the cycle of seeking validation. You must become like the Stoic emperor, Marcus Aurelius, who journaled not to be heard, but to ground his own soul. Your focus must shift inward to your mission, your resilience, your unshakable frame. You stop reacting to her emotional weather and instead become the calm, predictable center of your own world. This is not aloofness. It is emotional sovereignty. It communicates that your self-worth is not on the negotiating table. But this mastery of self is merely the prerequisite, the foundation for the ultimate truth about where real, unshakable power is ultimately derived. The ultimate truth, the final realization that redefines everything, is this: the entire concept of control is the grandest illusion. Machiavelli's deepest, most unsettling lesson is not a set of techniques to dominate others, but a profound mirror showing the futility of such a pursuit. The real power does not lie in bending another's will to yours, for that is a fragile, temporary victory that breeds resentment and requires constant, exhausting vigilance. True, unassailable power is the radical acceptance of a single, liberating fact. You control nothing outside your own choices, your own character, your own responses to an unpredictable world. The prince's authority is not measured by his subjects' forced obedience, but by his unwavering command of his own principality, his mind and his actions. This is the poetic, cinematic conclusion. When you stop trying to control her, you become truly powerful. Your presence is no longer a demand, but an invitation. Your loyalty is not an expectation, but a chosen gift. This shift from external manipulation to internal sovereignty is what inspires genuine, lasting devotion. It makes you a rock in the storm, not another leaf tossed in the wind. The final hack is to discard the need for hacks altogether. You are no longer a player trying to win a game, but a king so secure in his own kingdom that he has no need to conquer. This is the haunting, inspiring endgame. The master strategist understands that the greatest victory is won not over others, but over the part of yourself that believed you ever needed to. Another one of Machiavelli's strategies is to use manipulation and deception to get what you want. He believed that it's okay to bend the truth or hide your intentions in order to achieve your goals. One of the most surprising things about Machiavelli's strategies is his advice to avoid being hated. He believed that it's better to be feared, but not hated, because hatred can be a powerful motivator for people to want to bring you down. A great example of this is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, who rose to power through a combination of military victories and strategic manipulation. In conclusion, Machiavelli's dark secrets are still relevant today, and they can be powerful tools for achieving our goals. By understanding his key concepts, such as the importance of fear and the need to avoid being hated, we can become more effective at influencing and controlling the people around us. So, what do you think? Have you ever used any of Machiavelli's strategies to get what you want? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to check out my other videos on power and influence for more tips and tricks on how to achieve your goals.